There are snubs, and then there are diplomatic silences so loud you can practically hear the echo across continents. And this week, in Jordan of all places, that silence may have said more than any official statement ever could. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle arrived in Jordan on what was framed as a humanitarian visit, the optics seemed straightforward. Compassion, global concern, carefully chosen backdrops, the kind of imagery that fits neatly into a modern philanthropic portfolio. On paper, it looked polished, but royal watching is never just about the paper. It's about who stands next to you in the photograph and who very pointedly does not. Because while the Sussexes were present in the country, King Abdullah II was elsewhere, meeting Indonesia's president Prabowo Subianto, not a passing handshake in a corridor, a formal engagement, a clear prioritization. And as if to underline the message in bold ink, the king also held talks with Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, the Director General of the World Health Organization, who, incidentally, was closely aligned with the broader humanitarian framework of the Sussex visit. And yet, in the official photographs, Harry and Meghan were nowhere to be seen. Now, before we sprint headlong into melodrama, let's ground ourselves. Jordan is a sovereign state with its own diplomatic calendar. Queen Rania and the Crown Prince are not obliged to meet every visiting figure with a famous surname. Harry and Meghan are no longer working royals. Their visit was not arranged on behalf of King Charles III, nor coordinated through British governmental channels. In strict protocol terms, they arrived as private citizens with philanthropic interests. But here's where experience, and perhaps a touch of skepticism, begins to whisper in my ear. Jordan and the British monarchy share long-standing ties. Prince William has warm, visible connections in the region. King Abdullah's relationship with the House of Windsor is neither accidental nor superficial. In royal diplomacy, symbolism matters, appearances matter. Even brief courtesy meetings can be arranged when the will exists, and the will, in this instance, appeared absent. That absence speaks to something larger than a missed cup of tea. For years, Harry's identity was inseparable from the institution. He wasn't merely a prince by title, he was a working cog in a global monarchy machine. Doors opened because of that institutional weight. Invitations carried diplomatic nuance. But once you step away, voluntarily, emphatically, the machinery adjusts, the privileges recalibrate. It is one thing to build a new independent platform. It is altogether another to expect the old architecture to continue functioning on your behalf. And here's where the narrative grows uncomfortable. If the Jordanian royal family chose not to meet them, it may not be hostility, it may be hierarchy. Why would a reigning monarch prioritize time with figures who no longer represent a state or crown in any official capacity? That is not cruelty, that is protocol in its most clinical form. Still, perception is rarely clinical. To the public, this looked like a snub, a visible distancing, a quiet demonstration that royal circles operate on clear lines of legitimacy. And when those lines shift, so too does the warmth. I can't help but imagine what that must feel like for Harry. Once positioned firmly within the royal constellation, now orbiting independently. The gravitational pull of monarchy is powerful. Step outside it, and you quickly discover which lights were institutional and which were personal. For Meghan, the challenge is different but no less complex. Without formal royal endorsement, every international appearance must justify itself on impact alone. The margin for skepticism narrows. Critics question whether such trips are about tangible change or about sustaining a brand narrative that still leans heavily on former titles. Now, let's be fair. Humanitarian work does not lose its value because of awkward optics. If support is being delivered, if communities benefit, that matters, full stop.
But public belief is shaped by coherence, and when security concerns about Britain dominate one chapter, yet high-profile international travel fills the next, observers inevitably raise an eyebrow. It's not that people expect perfection, it's that they expect consistency. At the Crown Talk UK, I've said this before, monarchy is theater, yes, but it is also structure. Remove yourself from the structure, and you must accept the theatrical spotlight will behave differently. It becomes harsher, less forgiving, less ceremonial. And that is what this Jordan episode feels like, a reminder. Not a scandal, not a diplomatic incident, a reminder. A reminder that relevance cannot rely solely on inherited association. A reminder that stepping back from royal duty comes with real-world recalibrations. A reminder that global leaders prioritize institutional relationships over personal narratives. If you're finding this perspective useful, do take a moment to like and subscribe to the Crown Talk UK. These conversations deserve nuance, not just noise. Because here's the final truth. This was not about one missed meeting. It was about positioning. It was about status in a world where titles carry weight only when tethered to responsibility. Harry and Meghan chose a different path: independence, autonomy, freedom from constraint. But freedom comes with a price, and sometimes that price is discovering that the throne room door no longer opens automatically. Jordan didn't shout, it didn't criticize, it simply carried on. And in royal circles, that can be the most powerful message of all.